Welcome to ranking alien stage characters by how employable they are. I'm Clock, this is Clock tier, and here we have 5 tiers. Up here, employable, next up, employable but for the worse, then self-employed, unemployable, and then at the very bottom, cooked. Absolutely cooked. We're ranking all alien stage characters, so buckle in. Up first, we have Till. He is good at the arts, good work ethic, and good at everything in general. He adapted to living outside of the alien society pretty well. He learned to ride a motorcycle. He seems good with kids. He's not actually that bad socially, so I don't think the networking would be an issue with him. But all in all, I think his most solid points are actually his sheer tenacity and adaptability. He has a degree of sheer, raw, natural talent that is hard to understate. So he's described in some of the extra material as a standout genius. For those of you who don't know, there's a lot of extra alien stage content that doesn't appear in the music videos. This ranges from extra songs, comics, art, and even an entire alternate universe. That's what we hear talked about as the actor AU. So that's a relatively normal life AU where the characters are actors. And in that AU, Till is, first of all, he's one of the more senior cast members, and he's also a total workaholic. It's clear that work is draining for him, but he could definitely do it. So I could put this as employable, but for the worse. However, I'm actually going to put him in employable because he does genuinely love art and the arts. There's a real passion to it. In the Alien stage world, he pulled away from art after the series ended because it was described in some of the comics that he compensated for how bad his life is by just focusing on his own internal world, on the art. But in a good work environment, I think he could just do art and be passionate about it and be good at it and make money. So employable, solidly employable. Next up, we have actually Till's mother. So this is a comic only character. She's only appeared briefly, so we don't have much to go off of. So I'm gonna say her vibes are that she's kind of sweet, probably works hard, and is probably a working mother, like a single working mother. So we're gonna keep her together with her son and put it up in employable. Now, after that, we actually have Mizi, and this is okay. This is between employable for the worst and self-employed because a lot came out about Mizi's character in the last episode of Alien Stage Karma and in the Mizi comics. She's just like, oh, she is so complicated. There's so much going on with her. And she's actually the only character that chose to join Alien Stage. Mizi chose to participate in Alien Stage because she wanted to win. And not only did she want to win, she wanted to win because she wanted to beat the competition. And she 100% knew that that meant her competition was dying. That was a pro to her. It was like, awesome. I want to step over other people. That's how she was like. She has a ton of ambition, which could put her towards self-employed, small business owner, right? Or even corporate business owner. And you could also say on paper, she's a perfect corporate candidate. It's true. She did make it out alive, which is ultimately one of the things she really wanted. However, she has one fatal flaw here because she's actually a sensitive and kind person who cares about other people. And she cannot, and I mean cannot, hold up under pressure. She'd get a job, and then she'd get money, and she'd get the bag, and then she would have a legendary crash out. She would fail halfway to the finish line. She just couldn't do it. She does not have it in her. She mistook whether she could do it. We see this in canon itself. We see this in round 5. She thought she could go on after Sua's death. That was what she was planning for, basically. But she just couldn't do it. Her emotional collapse was so big, it could not stay internal. It completely impacted her performance. And if the rebels, if Hyuna and the rest had not broken in and rescued her from the competition, she would have been dead then. She actually genuinely would have died. It would have been over. So I can't even put her in employable for the worst because she'd just trip over herself. And now that I'm really talking about it, I was saying I was gonna put her between employable for the worst and self-employed, but I changed my mind. She's actually going right into cooked. She would crash out so hard she could never get a job again. Cooked. Cooked, cooked, cooked. Absolutely cooked. Coming up next, we have what I like to call the top 3 trio, even though only 2 of them are actually from the top 3 music video. So that is these 3. The top 3 music video is basically, a lot of people actually miss it when they're watching through Alien Stage because it's not marked with an episode number. but it is a main series video. And it's basically in-universe promotional material for Alien Stage, and it's going over the top candidates, and it also looks at footage from past seasons. And these two right here, these two girls, are from the past season. I'm gonna put the girl with the bright smile into self-employed because she reminds me of Mizi, but we never see a crash out because she's smiling brightly on the stage here. I'm gonna put the black-haired girl into unemployable because she is dead. We got 2 frames of her. And this guy, he's actually from Climatus, the first episode, a single frame character. We don't know enough about him for me to make a vibe check, but based on the vibe check, I'm gonna say self-employed too, because he has aura. And you know what you need aura for? That's right, you need aura to start a small business. Moving on, we have next up, Sua. This is the dark-haired girl. She's the one who dies in round 1, the dead wife of all time. And fun fact about Sua, she actually started being put to work before most of the Alien Stage cast. So the Alien Stage cast was raised in a place they call a Nact Garden, where they train the humans to sing in the competition, and she started doing modeling and photo shoots and all kinds of things while she was still in class. She was also top of her class. She as great at studying. In the actor alternate universe, she's really successful and elegant and clearly has made a name for herself, but she just does not have ambition. She could not start a small business. She would not be self-employed. That is just so far from her personality group. But it's hard to even put her in employable for the worst because I think in a good environment, she could actually do okay. So she's going up here with Till in employable. She totally despairs in canon, but in a universe where she doesn't have to choose between killing herself and killing her girlfriend, employable. Following on the family theme, next up we have Sua's sister. This is another comic-only character. She's mentally ill. She's a bit mean, a little bit off her rocker. She tries to be helpful, helps Sua out, except really does not help Sua's self-confidence at all. So we're gonna say probably maybe living at home, helping take care of younger kids, but she could not get a formal certification for teaching. So unemployable. Good luck, Sua's older sister, and crash out. Now we have the Enact Garden Extras, what I like to call them. Sometimes they're also called the NPCs. These we do see in the music videos, and we do see a little bit in the extra content of them, but they don't really have personalities. They are going, I mean, they're already here. You've seen where I've put them. They are in unemployed because they really were NPCs, and in this job market, in this economy, you need to stand out. And these guys, they are whatever the opposite of standout is. They are Sims characters, except Sims characters could get more of a job than them. Moving on, next up we have Luka. There is no debate here. I know exactly where he's going. This is not even a question. He has a lot of chronic health conditions in canon. I also personally read him as autistic. So in the extra material, and we see this in parts of the music videos too, he has a birth defect that affects his heart. He also has chronic migraines, and usually those would really be points toward unemployability. Usually they would really debilitate a person's ability to work, but most people are not Luka. Luka also has the highest scores of anyone in Alien Stage, not just on the stage, but in written work, in exams, in everything, he scores the highest. So he's definitely employable, or employable for the worst, but we're not putting him in employable. And that's because even in the actor alternate universe, he was an idol, and he hated it. He was in an idol group with Ivan in the actor AU. He hated it. He just hates work. So this guy can do it all. He can do absolutely anything. He just will hate all of it. So employable, but for the worst, solidly. But I really want to stress, he really could do it all. Alien Stage also has a extra content that puts statistical values onto the strengths of the characters, and Luka does not have a single weak area except for his physical stamina. So really, he's just suffering. That's it. He's just suffering. Employable, but for the worst, into eternity, just like in canon. I'm so sorry, Luka. Before we go into Ivan, Hyuna, and the rest, I want to say don't forget to like, subscribe for more fandom tier lists like this. You know you want to hear more of my crumbs of character analysis. I might accept requests for tier lists in the future too, and pause watching, tell me where you'd rank Luka, it really helps, and without further ado, moving on to Before we go on to Hyuna and Ivan, first we're doing the Guardians. The Guardians are the human character owners. Most of them are scumbags and they're all going into self-employed, except the self-employed in question is an insurance company. They run insurance companies. They're the evil of the evil. So Till's Guardian, Evil, Sua's Guardian, all of them. Except possibly Mizi's Guardian Shine. She seems more like a normal person than all the others. As I said, Mizi chose to participate in Alien Stage, and Mizi's Guardian is the only Guardian who did not push her human into participating in Alien Stage. Mizi's Guardian was not a considerate person, but I'd say most people aren't considerate. Shine, more than anything, struck me as a normal person, which is not to say that's a good thing, but it is to say she's kind of average. So, based on the average prospects of a person in this economy, in this modern era, she is unemployable. I am so sorry. Moving on to Hyuna for real this time. Hyuna, this is an easy. Easy. She could actually be in virtually every single category up towards the top. She could be employable. She could be employable for the worst. God knows she crashes out. She is one of the most crash out characters in the crash out character show. But in the data book with the statistical rankings of the character's strengths, she is actually not just neck to neck with Luka, she actually exceeds him in certain categories. For example, she has more mental strength than Luka. All that said, I am putting her into self employed because she has the ambition in a way. She'd be self employed in a kind way. She would start a nonprofit and she would succeed at it. She could basically, I think, do anything. And so, good job for her. She deserves a break. Let's give her a bookstore, a music business, just anything. Now we have Hyuna's brother, Hyunwoo. This is a character we see a little bit in the music videos. He is that kid who Luka kills in the flashbacks. We don't know much about him, but he was often squabbling with Luka. In the actor alternate universe, we see him as an adult, and he's pretty built. So I can see him doing maybe blue collar or assistant work, and I think that's maybe what he does in the actor alternate universe too. But to be controversial, okay. We could put him in actually employable for the worse with Luka beside the guy he's always fighting with. Right beside Luka, they can be annoying each other in the same workplace. Employable for the worse because he has to deal with his co-workers, and Hyunwoo seems to have a short temper, so he would not like dealing with his annoying co-workers. Moving on, we have Isaac, Dewey, and Jacob. I think of them as Hyuna's extensions, Hyuna's minions almost. Dewey and Isaac. So this is Isaac, this is Dewey. We see them in the music videos. They work with the rebel stuff, the humans. They have a lot of practical life skills. I think they would be solidly employable for blue collar work. This guy, this is Jacob. He's Isaac's brother. He's a comic only character. And I'm going to say unemployable. He died in canon. I forget how he died, but let's say he might get sick and then become unemployable. Any number of things unemployable. I am sorry, Jacob. Good luck. Now, last but definitely not least, we have Ivan. If Till is a standout genius, then Ivan is an established genius. Even though he's also kind of a rising star in the industry, he is a rising star of rising stars. He ranks pretty solidly in every single category. He's just generally competent. His one perhaps flaw is that he's a bit impulsive. His decision to die in round 6 actually seems to be made on the spot in the middle of the round. We see in extra material that he had actually thought he was above self-sacrifice. He specifically had thought to himself that he would not do that because he couldn't bear having that much of a negative emotional impact on Till. But then he does decide to self-sacrifice himself. That demonstrates quick thinking. That demonstrates a level of ability to keep calm under pressure that Mizi simply does not have. He's mentally ill, just like Mizi, but he's high functioning mental illness. So this is a hard decision. We're going to employable or employable for the worse. The other point against him is that he seems kind of out of place socially, so his networking may be a bit difficult. But he can clearly hide his feelings if he wants to. He doesn't enjoy work, but I don't think he would hate it quite as much as Luka does. I think he could find upsides to it. I think he can make it work. Employable. Let's put him right next to Hill. They're finally happy together. And with that, that is the ranking done. As always, I love seeing your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comments, so please leave them, and if you enjoyed, leave a like, and if you want more, subscribe.